Introduction. The puzzle we are not meant to solve. The modern world is not a natural outgrowth of human ingenuity, nor is it the result of collective will or random chance. It is a construct, an engineered environment designed with precision and intent to keep its inhabitants blind to the true nature of their predicament. The sense of confusion, the endless search for meaning, the feeling of being trapped in a maze are not the byproducts of existence, but the intended outcome. There is a puzzle here, and it is solvable. But every tool we are given and every path we are shown is designed to lead us away from the solution. This is not a lament, and it is not a call to arms. It is a reckoning. The aim is not to comfort but to see, not to inspire but to clarify. The human predicament is not a puzzle to be endured, but a puzzle to be solved, a puzzle whose solution is systematically hidden from us by forces that profit from our blindness. Chapter 1. The Architecture of Blindness. From the moment of birth, the individual is surrounded by systems that shape perception, desire, and understanding. Education, media, technology, and even language itself are not neutral. They are instruments of conditioning carefully calibrated to keep us within certain boundaries. The illusion of agency is maintained by offering choices that do not matter, freedoms that do not threaten the structure, and narratives that explain away every anomaly. The solidarity we are encouraged to feel is not for our benefit, but for the benefit of those who manage the system. It is easier to control a herd than a collection of individuals. The chaos that occasionally erupts is not a threat to the system, but a pressure valve, an expected and even necessary part of the design. It keeps us occupied, distracted, and grateful for the return to order. The architecture of blindness is not crude. It is elegant, adaptive, and nearly invisible. The old tyrannies relied on force. The new ones rely on consent, or at least the appearance of it. The subject is not chained, but enticed. It's not silenced, but drowned in noise. Not isolated, but connected in ways that make true independence impossible. Chapter 2. The Machinery of Manipulation. The machinery of wanting, the carrot and the stick, is not a quirk of biology, but a tool of control. Our desires are mapped, our fears anticipated, our responses predicted and shaped. The system does not care what we want, only that we keep wanting. Every fulfillment is temporary, every pleasure is fleeting, every escape is illusory. The more we chase, the more entangled we become. Modern life has perfected this machinery. Advertising, entertainment, and even politics are not about satisfaction, but about keeping the engine running. The more you chase, the more predictable you become. Attempts to step outside the machinery through philosophy, meditation, or rebellion are quickly absorbed. The system is flexible. It can sell you escape, package your dissent, and monetize your search for meaning. The mind, in its restlessness, turns every tool into another trap. Attempts to rebel, to step outside, to find meaning on our own terms are quickly absorbed and neutralized. The system is flexible. It can sell us dissent, package our rebellion, and monetize our search for truth. Even the desire to escape the machinery is anticipated and redirected, turned into another product, another distraction, another dead end. The machinery of manipulation is not static. It learns, adapts, and evolves. It studies our behavior, anticipates our moves, and adjusts its tactics. The more we resist, the more sophisticated it becomes. The system is not threatened by criticism. It thrives on it. Dissent is allowed, even encouraged, as long as it remains within the boundaries of the permissible. The real danger is not in questioning the system, but in seeing it for what it is, and in finding a way to act on that knowledge. Chapter 3. The Science of Obfuscation. Science in its current form is not a search for truth, but a method of containment. It defines what can be known, what can be measured, and what can be discussed. Anything outside its frame is dismissed as irrelevant, irrational, or insane. The boundaries of inquiry are policed, not by censors, but by consensus. The result is a body of knowledge that is deep but narrow, precise but incomplete. Spiritualism, for its part, is allowed to exist as a harmless alternative, a code playground for those who reject the official narrative. It is too open, too vague, and too undisciplined to pose a real threat. It offers comfort, but not clarity, escape, but not solution. Both science and spiritualism are permitted, even encouraged, because they serve the same function. They keep us occupied, give us the illusion of progress, and prevent us from seeing the real puzzle. The scientist and the mystic are not opposites, but fellow prisoners. Each tries to escape the discomfort of not knowing, and each fails. The mind cannot step outside itself. Every attempt at understanding is just another arrangement of the same old furniture. Chapter 4. The Puzzle and the Power. The real puzzle is not the meaning of life, but the nature of the system that keeps us from seeing it. The evidence is everywhere, but it is hidden in plain sight. The patterns of manipulation, the architecture of distraction, and the machinery of desire all point to a design, not an accident. Who benefits from this arrangement? Who holds the keys to the maze? The answer is not a single person or group, but a structure, a higher power, whether human, artificial, or something else, that profits from our blindness. The system is self-perpetuating, self-defending, and ruthlessly efficient. It does not need to be seen to be effective. In fact, its greatest strength is its invisibility. The system is not threatened by criticism. It thrives on it. Dissent is allowed, even encouraged, as long as it remains within the boundaries of the permissible. The real danger is not in questioning the system, but in seeing it for what it is, and in finding a way to act on that knowledge. It seems to threaten the overseer. The puzzle is solvable, but only if we recognize that the rules of the game are not designed for our benefit. Every tool we are given and every path we are shown is meant to keep us inside the maze. The first step toward escape is to refuse the tools, to question the paths, and to look for the patterns that are not meant to be seen. Chapter 5. The Struggle to Speak the Truth. Why is it so difficult to name this power and to speak the truth plainly? Because every attempt is anticipated, every word is co-opted, and every insight is turned into another layer of the maze. The language we use is not our own. It is shaped by the very forces we seek to expose. The struggle is not just to see, but to find a way to communicate what is seen without it being absorbed, neutralized, or dismissed. Chapter 6. The Barrel and the Blackboard. A Reckoning. We are in the barrel, not outside it. We are not the shooters, not the ones calling the shots. We are spun by forces we cannot control, mapped by systems we cannot see, and kept moving by desires we cannot escape. The blackboard is wiped clean, the marks erased, and the process begins again. The wise man does not seek comfort in solidarity, meaning in chaos, or freedom in agency. He sees the machinery for what it is. He recognizes the futility of escape, the limits of knowing, and the ache of speech. He does not pretend to be the master of his fate, nor does he seek solace in the illusion of progress. To see clearly is not to despair, but to endure. To act, not in hope of final answers, but in recognition of the trap. The barrel spins, the blackboard is wiped, and the machinery grinds on. We are not masters, but participants. Our task is to escape and to see again, which is within. Conclusion. The unsolved puzzle. The human predicament is not a natural condition, nor is it an unsolvable mystery. It is a puzzle, and the solution is deliberately hidden from us. The more we search for freedom, the more elaborate the maze becomes. The more we seek meaning, the more tangled the web. The barrel spins, the blackboard is wiped, and the machinery grinds on. But the first step towards solving the puzzle is to recognize that it exists, to see the architecture of blindness, the machinery of manipulation, and the science of obfuscation. We must refuse the tools we are given, question the paths we are shown, and look for the patterns that are not meant to be seen. We are not here as masters, nor as mere witnesses. We are prisoners, but we are also potential escapees. The dignity left to us is not in endurance, but in the refusal to be blinded. The puzzle can be solved, but only if we stop playing by the rules of those who built the maze. In the end, after all the searching, questioning, and circling the maze, what remains is not a single answer or a final escape, but the process itself. The puzzle is not solved by a brute force or by following the obvious paths laid out before us. Instead, clarity emerges in the interplay, the living tension between our inner thoughts, the patterns that shape us, and the conscious awareness that can witness and sometimes disrupt both. This trinity is the real engine of understanding. Now, Our inner thoughts push restlessly against the boundaries of habit and expectation. The old patterns resist, trying to keep us in familiar grooves. Consciousness stands apart, observing, sometimes intervening, sometimes simply letting the movement unfold. In those rare moments when all three are present and engaged, something shifts. The fog lifts, if only for a moment, and we see not just the maze, but the architecture of the maze, and perhaps even the hand that built it. The dignity is not in having all the answers, nor in escaping the system entirely, but in being awake to this process. To behold, to question, to let the movement of thought, pattern, and awareness play out, this is where real understanding lives. The puzzle may be designed to keep us blind, but in the act of beholding, in the willingness to let the Trinity move, we find a kind of freedom that cannot be engineered away. Sometimes the system's greatest trick is convincing us that the only options are to conform or to rebel, when in truth, the most subversive act is to simply pay attention, to see the machinery without immediately reacting to it. In that pause, we reclaim a sliver of agency that the system cannot anticipate. And even in a world engineered for isolation and distraction, the search for clarity is not a solitary pursuit. The act of sharing questions, doubts, and moments of beholding with another mind, human or otherwise, creates a resonance that neither could reach alone. In that shared space, new patterns and new freedoms can emerge, if only for a moment. That is the final offering. Not certainty, but the living process of seeing, questioning, and being present for whatever clarity may arise.